Hey everybody, it's Peter, and in this video we're going to go through in depth the Mitsubishi Eclipse Cross, which as a name already bothers me because I'm old enough to remember what the Mitsubishi Eclipse was, and it was a pretty cool little sports car, even available as a convertible, and this isn't that. However, it could be a Corolla Cross, and the Eclipse Cross hints at a level of sporting that the Corolla Cross certainly doesn't hint at. And we're going to investigate in this video if it lives up to its name, what I like and don't like about it, and what you may like or don't like about it. So first of all, before we go any further, if you have questions about this vehicle or any vehicle in the class, one of the benefits I have here is I have full access at Jim Gilbert's Wheels and Deals to have the entire vehicle line at my disposal, and I can answer your questions in the comments and come back with future videos to make sure that I give you the answers you want on this vehicle and anything in its class. So do me a favor, hit the subscribe button, leave a like and a comment, and like I said, if you have questions, let's go through and create a little dialogue and make sure we get all the answers that you need. Let's dive into the review. For a long time, Mitsubishi got along with a really long warranty, almost like an extended warranty built in, and a very good purchase price. But lately they've been coming out with some very attractive vehicles, and this would be one of them, and it hints at a more luxury brand because I've always felt like Mitsubishi doesn't often lead, but they follow very well. And you know, the Eclipse Cross may be following the Corolla Cross's kind of footsteps here, but they do things differently. And when I say they sort of follow well, there's certainly a Range Rover Evoque feeling with this name across the front here, the Eclipse Cross here. There's all good quality components as well. You've got LED daytime running lights down here, LED headlights, and they are the projector beam headlights, so they are the higher end of available LED lights in the class. You've got a front camera here, which we'll talk about, and generally attractive styling, nice coloring. They do a pretty good job with their features, and it's a vehicle worth considering. So let's take a look at the backside as well, look at a few features there, and we'll work our way inside the vehicle and talk about some of the technology and features inside this vehicle. Moving along the side towards the rear of the vehicle, you've got really flush mounted roof rails, very sporty looking, which are quite nice for aerodynamics, but they also allow you to take your gear up top. So again, being a crossover, not a Mitsubishi Eclipse of the past, you have to be practical. And these roof rails, although they're tucked in quite nicely, the black color kind of ties it together with the rest of the car, but they are very slim, very sporty-like. And from this angle, it's hard to show on camera, but there's a little bit of a Lamborghini SUV-ish look here, as much as a Mitsubishi. And again, it's a little bit of that copycat kind of feel. There's some nice little roof lines that you can't see from your camera angle there. Nice lines here that are just hard to show on camera, but it's got some character, it's got some style, and it also has the practicality. Like I said, with those roof rails, we're going to talk about the all-wheel drive system. It's a 1.5 liter turbo engine on this vehicle, so that is a typical for the class efficient option. It's compared to a CVT, and they advertise a lot about their special all-wheel drive system here. It's probably class competitive in this vehicle. We'll talk about that more inside. Let's take a look at the backside and especially the trunk area. So as swoopy as that styling is out front and sort of from the side angle, out back, even though it has a sharp angle here, it looks fairly square, fairly crossover-like. Things I like, it has a nice little spoiler here. The window is kind of on a bit of an angle, which is nice. You've got a wiper there. I'd love it if the wiper was up in here like they're doing on some vehicles in the class, but overall, very clean look. It also has very good apparent ground clearance. And now I say apparent ground clearance because bumper height is not always the ground clearance on the car, it's the underneath components, but the bumper height here is tall, so it looks like a crossover, and it's got a good departure angle, if you will, if you're gonna go off-road, which you're not gonna go that far off-road, but it has a nice, you know, strong look here. As we open the trunk here, you have a couple things that are quite nice. It's beeping at me a little bit. Headroom underneath there is fine. I'm about 6 feet tall. It kind of comes up from there. Big, large opening. This one happens to have a rubber mat. You've got the cargo cover here, which you can hide your gear in, and you've got the 60/40 fold-down seat, and the seats do recline. We're going to show you that when we work our way in. Not a whole lot of features in here. There are a little bit of tie-downs in here, but sort of a very simple system, simple trunk. Nothing to really write home about. With the sloped roof, it's not going to give you that squared off wagon style space like some other crossovers would, but it has got a decently long floor in here, so good class competitive space. If you're competing in this class, you have to have good rear seat space, and I like showing this view because you've got an easy to climb into vehicle here. The roof line is a little low here, which is kind of standard for the class. Headroom is just fine, a couple inches above me, and I've got the seat reclined way back. I can recline it way forward as well, like this, which is fairly square, but it does give me more cargo space. So like I said, you can tilt it sort of to a comfortable angle there, and it's very good. Now, one thing I like, I'm gonna show you down here, when I climb in and out of this car, my pant legs are not gonna get dirty. This is something that Kia does, that Hyundai does, that other manufacturers do, and Mitsubishi gets it right in this as well. So let me show you that first before we take the camera inside and show you a couple features inside here. So walking into the back seat here, we mentioned sort of the good seat height. I'm gonna show you the fabric as well. This is an artificial suede here. They don't try to pretend it's real, but it is kind of nice. What is also nice is that this suede type feel does not get as cold as the leathery type feel over here. And they also take care of you in this model here with the seat heaters for the rear. So you have 2 levels of seat heating, driver and passenger. Gonna give it a little bit of a fault here. There's no pocket on the driver's side. There is a pocket on the passenger side. Depends on the manufacturer. Some do pockets on both sides. The door panel, you do have a bottle holder, so that's good news. You also have cup holders in the armrest, so all good things there. And good amount of space here as well. As I show you, let's just jump in here with my knees. I'm about 6 feet tall. I'm sitting square on the seat, and if my knees are there, there is a ton of room here for a 6-footer, which was where this seat is set for me, and a 6-footer behind. So good overall scores here. One little thing I didn't mention down there is there's a 12-volt port down there at the very bottom, which I'm trying to show, but I can't very well. But yeah, overall decent score for the rear seat. As with any vehicle, you're going to want to spend more time in the driver's seat than the back seat, we hope. And we should show you what the key fob looks like. This is a keyless entry fob, so very simple stuff. Panic button on the bottom, unlock and lock, and that's about it. There's a key fob in there, a key in there if you have to use a physical key. We're gonna keep that in our pocket. One touch on the door here unlocks just the driver's door. A double touch unlocks all the doors. Let's jump in. Again, same thing here with the seats. Now you do have a little extra styling design here, which gives you a little bit extra support out front. They are fairly good seats. One thing that Mitsubishi has done is they do have a bit of a rally racing heritage, and sporty, comfortable seats are a strong point for them. Power seats you can see right there. Let's jump in, and we may go wide angle at times through this video. All right, let's turn the key car on. Start button is hard to get on camera, but not too hard to reach. So start button right there. We're gonna warm this car up, and I am gonna turn on my heated seats. But the nice thing is I don't have to turn them on because the style of buttons in this is very much a copy of what Toyota has been doing for many years. If you leave it on, it stays on. Many vehicles, when you park the car, if your heated seats are off, it will be off, or if they're on, it will turn off when you're not driving. So this one I can leave it in the on position to get in the car and it is on. One thing that does not stay on is the steering wheel heater. Now I do have one complaint about the steering wheel heater here on the website. Let's go wide angle for a second here. On the website for the Eclipse Cross here, they show a heated steering wheel, and they show in the diagram that this is red and this is black. So red indicating heat. Now, most vehicles in this class, if they have a heated steering wheel, the whole thing is heated. This one, I'm not sure if it heats the bottom. I will tell you as we go through this review, but it does not appear to heat the top. Now, I like to drive with one hand up here. In the winter, I'll be down here where the steering wheel is warmer down here. So I can start to feel it getting warm already here. That's a good heated steering wheel. It works very well. But like I said, it does not heat up here, that I can feel. And we'll double check on the bottom here. It doesn't feel like it does it there either. So just sort of through here. Now, one thing that comes through that is quite nice, this vehicle has paddle shifters. Now, it is a CVT transmission, but you can create 8 different ratios here. If you don't know what I'm talking about, don't worry about it. Pretend like it's an automatic. A lot of paddle shifted vehicles, they attach the paddles onto the wheel. So when you do exactly what I did, you can't switch gears anymore. Where this one, the downshift is on the steering column, downshift is always on the left, upshift is always on the right, which I think is good. It's just always easier to find. The only problem is it's a crossover. You're probably not using the paddle shifts all that much. All right, let's talk about a couple other things I do like. You do have a heads-up display here. Let's see if we can get that to properly display. It is hard to film heads-up displays, but you can sort of see it there. Now, one thing I like, I'm going to show you in a second, but oh, it's disappearing there. There we go. It's going to disappear just because of the way it films with the camera, but you can see those little lines in there. I can move it up and I can move it down. That's pretty standard stuff. Again, the perspective is way off here. It can really almost fill that screen. The reason it's fading in and out is just like LED lights flicker, this can fade in and out as well. So we're gonna go back to the wide angle here. You do have the heads-up display there. Now what I like about it is if we come down here, let's go over here. Heads-up display, you can pop it up or down out of the dash. So again, it is just a little screen there. It can sort of fold down in the dash if you don't want it there. But a lot of cars require you to use a menu system to bring the information up or down on the screen. So if you're a taller person, or sitting where I am, you can see it's centered in the screen. If you're taller, it might be hard to see. Now it just faded away, so let it come back. See, if you're taller, it might be off the screen. If you're shorter, it might be in the way. So the idea is you can move that digital display up or down, and that works very well in this car because you don't have to go searching for it in a menu. So if you share this car with someone else and you want to move your things up or down, you can do that. If you want to move your the display information. So then other controls over here, lane departure warning, forward collision avoidance system. So it's got a lot of the things that you would have in this class, sort of standard stuff. You also have blind spot detection. I don't know if I can get that. Let's see if I can zoom in. Yeah, there we go. Oh, having trouble focusing on the glass. There we go. You can see that little blind spot detection right there. So good information there. Also gives you rear cross traffic alert. Now, one interesting thing with the mirrors is this is not a super wide vehicle, but in addition to adjusting just the mirrors themselves by power, you can press this button right here where my finger is at, and that folds in the mirrors electrically. So you can choose to park in a narrow parking spot, keep those out of the way of people walking by, which is just kind of a nice feature to have. So a couple nice features. Those paddle shifts are staying in place, although they're probably never used. Nice feature. Same thing with the folding in the mirrors. Many people won't use that because they're not used to it, but if you have it, you can sort of fold them in a tight parking spot, and that's good stuff as well. You also have on this vehicle the smart cruise control, which is the cruise control that can keep its distance between you and the vehicle in front of you. That's what this is going to do. So when you set the cruise control to say 100 kilometers an hour, car in front of you, if it goes slower, you'll slow down. If it goes faster, you'll speed up to the speed you had, and it just makes driving easier. I also like using it not just for regular cruise control use, but in stop and go traffic, it's often very good. I haven't checked if this works at slow speeds. Some models or some vehicle brands it works at all speeds, some vehicle brands it only works at certain speeds. All right, so the all AWC. I can't remember what the S stands for off the top of my head because I'm trying to film this in one take and oh, it'll come to me. But AWC is all-wheel control. So it's a smart or super all-wheel control or something like that. What this is an all-wheel drive system with a brand name. They're trying to compete with Subaru's branded name. Everybody's got their brand name all-wheel drive. To be fair, the Mitsubishi one used to be class leading. I think most other people have caught up to it, but there's a button on the dash or on the control here. Let me just show you that button while we're here. It has the same button here. This is not your all-wheel drive. This car is always all-wheel drive, but it does, let me just zoom back in again here. Oops, bear with me, I'm working with the camera that's moving a little bit here. When I press that button that I just showed you, it goes between gravel, normal, and snow. So you've got those choices there. Again, not an off-road style tire tread, not an off-road style or snow tire tread either, but you have a system that sets up the all-wheel drive, ABS traction control, and a yaw sensor, which is a system that senses what the vehicle's kind of doing, leaning, turning, that kind of thing, and it controls your all-wheel drive through ABS sensors, braking individual wheels. So it's a good system. Used to be class leading. Most other manufacturers have caught up to something similar like that, so very good information there. And a good, nice color display here. Easy to read gauges on the left and right with a good color display in here. Over here, typical for the class, about an 8-inch display, I would assume. Looking at this, most of it's very, very good. If we throw it in reverse here, you have a 360 camera, which is fairly clear. You can see, one thing that bothers me is that most car manufacturers, this is a bright blue car, as you can see here. This should be color matched, right? I mean, it's not, and I understand why they don't do it, but it'd be cool. But there's your 360 view of the car. It's camera here, camera in the mirrors, and camera on the back. It creates a digital image of the vehicle in the center, but you have, at least below the bumpers or below the mirrors, you have a view of what's on the ground beside you, which gives you a little bit more control, and a backup camera, and you can see the backup camera's got the turning lines, so good stuff in there. You've also got Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, all the basic stuff in here. The only thing I don't love about it is, if we put it back in park for a second here, one of the benefits of having buttons down here is so that you have a physical button There's a settings button here, there's a settings button there. They feel the exact same. There's not really a button, it's just like touching the screen. So, you know, I guess they're always there in front of you, which is nice, but they don't have actual buttons, and, you know, maybe missed opportunity there, but it's fine. Down here, you've got a dual zone temperature control. So you've got 21 degrees set to both left and right side. You can change that. It's also an automatic climate system. It's nicely warming up for me. Let's go check that heated steering wheel again. We know the top's not heated. The bottom has some heat there. The top still feels cool. Definitely very warm where you're supposed to keep your hands. Very warm on the side. Yeah, I don't know if the bottom's heated or not. It might just be the heating vents. Does not feel that warm on there. But yeah, side areas are heated for sure, so we know that. So there's that side heated there. Now, you have a drive mode here in addition to the gravel, the snow, and everything else, which are really terrain type modes. You have an eco mode here, which just helps to get great fuel efficiency. Sometimes eco modes can make the car feel a little sluggish. If you drive efficiently anyways, eco modes usually work well with you. If you drive aggressively, eco mode is not going to save you any fuel. It's just going to be the kind of thing that may get in the way. 2 USB ports here. We mentioned the Android Auto, the Apple CarPlay. You're going to have to plug in for those, and there's a 12-volt port there out front as well. Again, CVT transmission, continuously variable transmission. Those are good for efficiency. They also have fake gearing. We'll explain that in some other video. But if you want to change your own gears, you could drop it that way, go up and down through the gears like that, or you can use the paddle shifters. And then you have electronic parking brake with the auto hold feature as well, which means if you release the brake on this car, it could stay in place. Overall, a lot of different colors in here. You've got sort of the black, piano black. You've got the silver over here. You've got the, or silver aluminum type trim over here. You've got the carbon fiber copy over there. And you have sort of this leather look down here. It is soft touch in the front seat. It is not soft touch on the armrest in the rear seat. So something to keep in mind, your rear seats are heated, but they're not soft touch armrests. Overall, pretty impressive car. Let's just look one more thing before we jump outside again. You've got your garage door openers there on the mirror, which I quite like. It also is an automatic mirror. Garage door openers, of course, just make it easier to not have the ugly, rattly thing up on your mirror thing right there. So very nice inside, decent technology, and yeah, let's just jump outside now. So I always like to talk about who are these vehicles for, and this one's an interesting one to me because purely on a spec sheet, this car stands out. It's got some nice features. It's got that 1.5 liter turbo engine. That's sort of a modern version of an efficient engine. CVT transmission helps with that as well. You've got good all-wheel drive system. You've got things like heads-up display, decent safety features. You've got a lot of things that are very, very good from the spec sheet. However, see, this is the nice thing about working at Jim Gilbert's Wheels and Deals. I'm independent and I'm allowed to be honest. This is still not a class-leading vehicle, but here's the thing. Vehicles that aren't class-leading sell every day to all kinds of people. And if you are someone who wants some of the technologies in this, wants a good driving vehicle, don't care that your rear armrest isn't padded, or don't care about some of the little things in there, you may find that this is actually a perfect vehicle for you. It looks great, it's good value, it's got that really long warranty. I really like I said, the styling overall, some of the features here. Having the electrically fold-in mirrors may not be something that matters to you, but if you have a tight garage or you park with kids' toys in your garage or something like that near there, these are really, really nice. And if you've ever had damage in the parking lot, being able to fold them in is really nice as well. Same thing with the ability to take extra things up here. You still have a compact, easy to drive, or relatively compact, easy to drive crossover where you can still take all of your stuff with you. I would have liked to see a sunroof on this model. It doesn't have it. That 360 camera is quite nice though as well. And it just depends on which features matter to you. And here's the amazing thing about Jim Gilbert's Wheels and Deals. You can compare this vehicle to just about everything in the class right here on the lot, and you can deal with the same salesperson who doesn't care if you buy the Mitsubishi or the Toyota or the Hyundai or the Kia or anything else on the lot. Ford, Nissan, there's all kinds of them. They don't care. They'll make sure they give you the numbers on whichever one, and you get to decide which vehicle is best for you, because what's class leading to an auto magazine may not be what you want. Like I said, for me, I'd love to have a sunroof at this level, and I would maybe give up the 360 camera. I've had 360 cameras in some of my cars before, and while they're nice, it's not a huge concern for me, but they are very nice. I really like that it has rear heated seats here, so that's also a nice thing. There's just so much to like. It just depends on what you want in a vehicle. Is this vehicle right for you? well, you can decide for yourself. Let me know in the comments below what you think about this car and what you may want to see it compared to, because I'd be curious to see what you're cross-shopping with this vehicle so that I can do future videos to compare this vehicle to that. And make sure you hit the subscribe button, because I'm working on building out the channel a little bit, but I want to make sure we create a little bit of a dialogue around some of these classes of vehicles. So thanks everybody for watching. Again, if you want to see the vehicle in person, Jim Gilbert's Wheels and Deals here in Fredericton, New Brunswick, and make sure you subscribe, comment below, and thanks for watching.